Okay, well, here we are. I'm running the mic into a board, but a mixing console, but then it's all going through the delay, so you're hearing the bypass sound of the delay. Strymon uses that JFET, I think it's a Class A little preamp that they like, and so that's the sound of this. So you're not going to get any latency, any digital latency through the analog input there. And as you know, if you've seen some other videos, I like to use the human voice through effects. It may not be the most directly musically relevant to what you're doing, but we're so tuned to hearing the human voice, that we can really dissect what is happening to the sound. And especially with delays, we can hear where the repeats really are in terms of the frequency content and whatnot. So I'm making this. I haven't had it very long. I've only probably had it plugged in 20 minutes or so. But I did want to get something out to a viewer, Bob, who is looking for some information. Let's see, after making sweet love to your wife in our post-coital glow, we discussed delay boxes. I'd like to hear the details of the tape echo mode, how bright or dark it can get, and how the wow and flutter and tape crinkle sound when you dial them up where you can really hear them. I'm trying to figure out if I can replace the L cap with the Timeline MX to have tape echo and digital delays together in one box. It'd be good to hear what the straight digital delay sounds like as well, with some modulation on it. Yeah, totally reasonable. We can totally do that. I'm not sure if he wants to run the digital delay and the tape delay at the same time. The Strymon MX can do that. It can run two different delays, and it can run them serial or parallel. But I think right now we're just going to listen to some straight sound quality and see what we've got there. I am going to start with the digital delay. I'm on a blank patch with the digital delay, and I'm going to get all the filter parameters and color parameters down to minimum, so that we can really just hear the delay engine itself. Let's see here, get it about 50-50 mix-ish. Delay time set to 500 half a second. And I'm going to set the repeats down about halfway-ish. We'll see how that goes, just so you can hear the basic delay. This is the delay. This is the delay. This is the delay. Digital delay. Digital delay. Digital delay. Little clippy there. Okay, so a very straight ahead delay. I think it's clean without being overly sterile. This is a musical instrument, not not for 7-second delays for broadcast or time alignment or any of that kind of thing. So I think it's a pleasant sound. Do bear in mind that it's not the only option. I am going for the most vanilla option, because in the system you can set some things. There's some more color options like smear and high pass. But the voice, I think, right now we're on a 2496 model. And I think that's kind of the most modern straight ahead model, or what we would consider straight ahead these days, which is 24-bit depth, how long, that controls kind of the amplitude resolution, and then 96 kilohertz, kHz, which determines the sampling frequency. And that's the Nyquist limit would be half of that. So, we're talking, yeah, I mean, it's very high resolution. But there are other options. ADM, which is, I believe, the Delta Sigma or Sigma Delta. I think Sig Delta is a little more clear because it's a summation of your changes. That's the one where you get usually like a one bit. You run a real high sample rate, but you only run one bit depth, and it's wiggling up or down, and you let those changes add up. So it's yeah, one bit wide, but it's good for percussive type stuff. Symmetric 606, I believe, use Sigma Delt. Really good. That's an older unit, but for its time, very nice. 12-bit, more classic. Lower bit resolution, and then classic, which I don't think is described as much. Just an older school delay. We can certainly take a look at that, but I did want to go through the other parameters first and get that sorted out. But so there's various voice options. We're going with the most of, I don't want to say vanilla, but just straight ahead as to what we can do with a digital delay. One thing I do want to check real quickly is maximum repeats. And if we jack that up, will it self-oscillate? Will it hold steady? And what kind of sound we get? This is maximum repeats. Okay, well, I'll make a separate annoying video and just let that free run, but basically it sounds like it's right at about unity, so you just get kind of infinite repeats. Which is great. As you can hear, and it's also really clear. I think, there's really no filtering effects there. It stays full bandwidth. Instead of rolling off. So I think the natural roll off from kind of that default without the filter going on and not infinite repeats, is amplitude driven. Which is it's a not very nice roll off. I want to check one thing with the time as we talk. Okay, this is doing. Okay, this is doing. Yeah, sure is. Ah, you can do those effects. Test. Okay. Okay, so what it's doing is it's adjusting a virtual clock speed of a digital delay or an analog delay, how fast the signal runs through the delay system, or a tape speed on a tape, I assume. We'll get into the tape, but I assume that's going to be a variation on a theme, which allows you to do those pitch shifting things. Like other delays would have been implemented where it changes where you read in the virtual delay cycle, and that doesn't give you the pitch change. So this does. Interesting to note, though, with the repeats cranked, it stays at unity. It doesn't go out of control like an old analog delay when you do the spaceship sound. So that's real nice. It's very controllable, and you don't have to have your hand on a panic button ready to go. So very cool from that standpoint. Let's take a look at the color controls. Let's take a look at the filter. Test. This is zero. Filter. This is filter all the way up. This is filter about halfway. Okay, so I'm going to turn up the repeats, and then I'm going to roll the filter on so we can hear how it changes the overall. Test. Okay, very well behaved filter. It may not sound super ultra hyper dramatic, but I think it's got a very usable range, and I think the thing is, if you really wanted to get like dark and weird with it, you would probably choose a different model. So I think that's really musically appropriate for a digital delay. And again, we're on the cleaner of the digital delays, so there's plenty of other options. So I think that's a really, really musically useful range and where they set it. I don't know that you can change the filter frequency. I didn't see anything in the literature, but it's tuned well. The grit, I assume that's going to be bucket, essentially capacitor, or it's storing the digital value. It's going to register. I guess it'd be a register, really. We'll see. It's some kind of distortion. I don't know if it's a bit crush or what, but I think it's probably going to be something. It's going to sound like, I assume, like a sample or bit rate reduction. Test. Test. Yeah, okay. So there we go. Now the next we've got the kind of standard modulation, the speed and the depth, but let's hear what we get out of that. Maybe less cowbell. Yeah, we'll have less cowbell. We'll be the first guys to do less cowbell. Test. Okay, this is pretty straight ahead. So that's quite a bit of depth. Bop. All the way up. Okay. Definitely there we can hear kind of the vibrato. Interesting. Well, what I found interesting is they have it tuned down at a pretty. It looks like, and we'll see if we can change that. This is just kind of the basic, sound stuff. We'll get in a deeper dive, but it sounds like they're going for a tuning that's basically like real musically useful. I think we might have an older digital delays or a lot of delays where the depth and the speed parameters aren't software controlled, and you're just you can get to just nutso sounds, kind of the old Rebel Yell sound. Where it's not really musical notes anymore. It's just this sound, this warbly sound. So this seems to be tuned more for actual use as kind of a diffuser for the delay, to give it some animation. Let's go ahead and hear it on a couple extra sources. But we're going to bring it down to something maybe a little more musical. Not tuned, but that's okay, because it up. So to go flat. It's actually a 4-string right now. I popped a couple of strings. Flat. Half. Full. I just wanted to play through those octaves. Just wanted to play through those octaves so you can hear that. I think it's a very musically useful delay. The modulation is tuned, I think, real well. In terms of that kind of chorusy type effect. The filter is, I think, it very much in a useful sweet spot to just take some harshness. Or it's not a particularly harsh delay, but just to give it some smoothness. And there's a bunch of other parameters, deeper parameters if you want to get something a little more. But that's kind of, I think, a very straight ahead digital delay. So let's move on to the belle of the ball. I think for a lot of people, the tape delay. Now the tape delay is going to have a bunch of parameters that, I was trying to pause it there while I just kind of got set. But the pause is not working. Anyway, I think this is going to be the belle of the ball for a lot of people. The El Cap has been the big thing. I do have a Volante. So let's take a listen to the basics on this. Now, again, with this, there's a bunch of different things we can do, including voicing, so we can get a classic and a new one, which is going to change things like I think how a couple of the various parameters work. If there's for instance, if you're trying to get distortion with a higher bias level, or you're doing it through a preamp, through a higher preamp gain. Just how you're getting your headroom reduction. But let's go ahead and enough with that. Let's take a listen. Test. Okay. Pretty straight ahead. Yep. But definitely a tape delay. Yeah, I think it has a very signature tape delay kind of sound. It looks like all of the delay, I don't know if all of the delays, but it looks like the basic idea is, since we're changing the tonal models, 2,500 milliseconds is 100 milliseconds kind of where they're at. In terms of the maximum delay time. Let's check out the same thing. Let's check out the max repeats just to see how the sound degrades under those repeats, and to see what the repeats, if they still have that same kind of locked unity gain thing going on. Test. Okay, and that's with kind of the newest tape, you can basically the crinkle and the grit and all those aren't happening. So let's see here what we can do with that. Now, in this one, we have the filter is the tape age, which is going to be a natural filtering process, as it just won't hold the frequency response. Grit, in this case, is the record level. Now, on the other model, I believe it does basically it changes the bias so that you're losing headroom to the bias signal, the bias frequency. Kind of like biasing a transistor. You're putting a forward bias on it and losing high end kind of that way, losing headroom that way, sort of on the low end, not frequency wise on the low end of the level. They're instead of clipping, you're sort of reducing the headroom from the bottom. These parameter controls here are not controlling speed and depth modulation of an LFO. It's tape crinkle, which will happen with tape over time. I think anybody who's worked with tape, you get caught in a capstan or rather a roller, and it gets all messed up, and you get crinkly bits in there. It gets folded on itself. And the other one is wow and flutter. The motor or there's slack in the tape at points of the tension comes on and off, and so you'll get a wow effect as the tape rate naturally changes. Let's take a listen to all those though in individual. Test. Give it a little. Right there. Okay. New tape. Half-age tape. Really old tape. I'm going to turn the tape age back to new so you can hear the difference. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and set it for infinite. I'm going to go ahead and set it for infinite repeats and roll through that filter so we can really hear it degrade. Take two. I think I want it a little sparser there. Test. Test. Bring that up. Okay, so that's tape age. Gonna bring the tape age back down. Next, we're going to get to the record level. So we're going to wind up overdriving at the preamp, or overdriving into the tape rather. So we're going to leave some headroom, and we're going to get some kind of compression and overdrivey type artifacts out of that. Is at least physically is what would happen. So once again, we'll start with a basic. Let's get it up there a little bit. And here we go. Bringing it in. About halfway. Dry. Halfway. Full. Full, definitely. Ooh, that really accentuates. Do the infinite speed so we can kind of hear it again. The infinite repeat, sorry. Test. 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 Okay, definitely adds that kind of compression and really limits, trashes your dynamic range. The next one's going to be the tape crinkle. Test. 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 Halfway. 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 All the way. 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 Now, right there, you can hear as it sort of, you get a little bit of almost like slicing and stumbling, as parts of the tape aren't really picking up as well anymore from the crinkle, from a fold in it. So let's, I'm going to turn up do the maximum repeats and go through that exercise again. Crinkle, 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 You can really hear there how it becomes, you get a staggered rhythm, almost a syncopation from the crinkle as it kind of stumbles over the cowbell there. Now with, let's see, try one more time. No crinkle, no crinkle, no crinkle, no crinkle, no crinkle. Okay, there you can really hear it, kind of the warbly, choppy sound. Full, 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 full. Copyright, 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 copyright. Okay, that's a bit extreme. Certainly works. So back down to that. And the next we're going to test is just the wow and flutter, which will give you more of that kind of chorusy thing that an LFO would give you. Test. 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 Dry. 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 Wow and flutter up half. Wow and flutter up full. Up full. Now with infinite repeat, so we can really hear it, we'll bring it down and we'll bring it in and we'll bring the wow and flutter up. Get a clear signal. You can hear it there, almost that marching. Okay, well, you definitely get a seasick warble out of that. So yeah, so that's I think a nice suite of basic tools to get some things going on with. From there, let's go ahead and try to dial in something with a little bit of the kitchen sink here and get something that has some use, you know, with not just in isolation. Test. Put a little bit of age on that tape. Let's give it a little extra time. A little bit of age on that tape. A little bit of reduce the dynamic. Oop, that's a lot. Let's bring that back. Bring that back somewhere in there. Add a little tape crinkle because that's an old tape, so it's been used a lot. We couldn't afford a good tape. And the machine hasn't been serviced in a while. Okay, there. The wow and flutter, you can really hear it takes it from a kind of a precision delay. Really takes it from that precision delay, actually, takes it from that precision delay to start smearing it in a very musical manner. Test.